In studio now, we do have two guests, of course. We're looking at stories that are making headlines, but today with a conversation around the road to the 2027 general election. 2027 is here. Accountability for candidates needs to happen, right? What questions should you ask as you're going to vote? There are people who have been in power this term, right? The first term, and then now they want the seeking re-election. What have they done? Right. So in studio, I do have Zedekiah Adika. Is an advocate of the High Court. He's also a human rights advocate. We also have Rukiya Adam, who's also a civic educator, Raiya Trust. Good morning.
Morning to you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
We're getting into 2027 election, and Adika, your group has formed Mombasa County Citizens Manifesto.
Yes.
Right. Let's start with what triggered the development of the Mombasa County Citizens Manifesto at this particular time.
Okay. Thank you. I know I have so many titles, but today's title is as the chair of the Coast Civil Society Network for Human Rights.
Yeah.
The civil society fraternity has a huge role to play towards ensuring that there is good governance in Kenya and also in Mombasa.
Yes.
We have been involved in this process in so many ways.
Yes.
But now we thought that towards 2027, we should not be swayed by what is happening today and tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So we say that what are the key issues that the people of Mombasa, ni nini watu wanasema wanataka.
Yes.
So that's what we said. Let's have that information ahead of time. Because sometimes if you move towards election too much, then a lot of things happen and you forget about the key substantive issues that drive community. So we say that once we have a table of documents that people want, not what the political class want.
Yes.
And that's why we went to all sub-counties. We met people in town halls as civil society fraternity, and we came up with the Citizen Manifesto that then will inform the debate in 2027, ahead of 2027, in 2027. And I can also share with you that these manifestos also form part of that thing you call the CIDP, where the planning and budgeting process is going to happen from 2027 to 2032.
Yeah.
So it's like seeing ahead and saying that we have to have this conversation ahead of time before we get into the actual time.
Yeah. How different is this from previous civic statements that we've had in the previous, or rather even after elections?
My view is, first, we've started early.
Yes.
We are also trying to consolidate all the voices of civil society, because sometimes we end up getting so divided and some people now start following even certain candidates and you miss the point completely. So if we put ourselves together ahead of time and see that these are the issues, so it doesn't matter whether Adika is there or is Rukiya or yourself.
Yes.
You say there is a table of issues that are guiding us towards convening and engaging politicians. Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at your vision here, and it says a just, inclusive, and well-governed Mombasa County where public resources are managed transparently, citizens meaningfully participate in decisions, and every resident enjoys dignity, opportunity, and equitable development. You've also talked about what do Mombasa residents need, right?
Yes.
What is it that Mombasa residents need?
A number of things.
Yeah.
The people of Mombasa are saying that they want accountable governance and proper accountability.
Yeah.
The participation of people is supposed to be centered in every development progress that is happening in the county. And I am amazed that people kept saying that we need our voices properly put into those things. The other thing, by the way, let me say this as a positive progress. I saw the County Assembly of Mombasa live. I watched their sessions yesterday and the day before. It is one of those things that have come out with a lot of force, that these people go to County Assembly, they speak to themselves in a room, make their own decisions and implement them. So we have been prodding and talking to the county assembly, pushing from where we sit, that this question of oversight of what is happening within the county must come out very clearly. I'm so happy that now people from Mombasa can see that this is by MCA is speaking about this issue and is speaking it to the substantive level, and we can see he means it. Yeah, but this one we can see this one is talking his own things. Yeah. So that when we go to elections, we know why who are we electing in elections. Because the question of oversight came out very clearly that sisi kama watu wa Mombasa, we felt that this oversight is not happening properly. We are not listening to our MCAs. We don't know what they are discussing. That came out quite clearly. The questions about processes of public participation, like giving people notice, is it adequate notice, is this public participation, hizi vitu tumeenda tukasema kwa public participation, do they come and get implemented, is there a feedback mechanism? Those came out very clearly. If we do things like petitions, do they happen? Then a big question have come around education. The confusion that is happening about funding education is one that even I felt that probably people like us who are in this room are the only people who know. But when we went out, even that Mama Mboga down there would tell you, my boy went to secondary school, but my boy has not gotten to a TVET. Yeah, he doesn't have a skill. Yeah, and it is a problem because recently you heard about the regional commander saying the questions around shoot to kill. And we are asking ourselves when we were having this conversation about education that to what extent do we invest as a county and as a country to that age group of people that are targeted with shooting? And you would find that a lot of investment does not go to that section. And so the push is towards having at least 70% of the resources intended for education going towards issues of TVET and nursery schools. And so those are things that have really come out very clearly. I know my sister will talk to you about what people have said about health, water, and sanitation.
Yes, we're coming to that, yes.
And I saw you hosted here Noah, and you hosted here the
Dr. Galib. Yes.
Yes, and it is also important that we say from a citizen's perspective, because those are government. You have doctors talking about their issues.
Exactly.
You have government talking about their issues. But the person in Mombasa want that if they go for emergency services, it happens almost immediately. Yeah, there's no circumlocution. You go round about an issue that should be done properly. I think we have to properly have a proper conversation about how to handle Makadara.
Okay.
And in the eyes of Mwananchi.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Rukiya, I want us to look at accountability now before 2027, right? As we head toward 2027, how do you intend to ensure that candidates don't just endorse, right, this manifesto symbolically?
Thank you. The good thing, to echo Adika's words, why we came early, is to bring the synergy. Yeah. We were doing it before, but we're doing it separately. Yeah. That's why Raiya co-opted some of us as Civic Educator. We are a team in each constituency to be part of the CSO movement. So we were doing it, but separately in different institutions. But now with the synergy and a well-documented document that gives us the blueprint on how to agitate for the issues and accountability to our leaders, then we have a clear vision on what we expect from them. Yes. So in regards to accountability is not a one-day off event. Yeah. It does not end with the election date. It's something that is ongoing in the election cycle. So given that, we need the issues to be articulated. Yes. It's not about who gets into power. It's the citizen understanding the power where does power lies against these promises and these slogans from our leaders. Like, after those promises, like, who is in the authority? What systems needs to be there? It's not who gets in power. That person who is going to get in power, are they qualified enough? Apart from qualifications, do we have, is the system strong enough to protect us as the citizen?
So how does the citizen hold? Because this is, and I like that we're looking at before 2027, right? So we start before 2027
and beyond.
Yes, and beyond. How does the citizen hold these leaders accountable before even election day?
I can say the only thing as a citizen that demands of you is throughout democratic participation.
Okay.
So democratic participation demands the citizen to be informed, engaged throughout, and consistent, despite the mistrust, the eroded trust over the years, or given to the failures that have happened in the previous regimes. So it's something that should be embedded in the oversight as citizen. We are not in the investigation. We are not in the prosecution. We are not in the service delivery. But we are part of and parcel of the whole system working. So by demanding transparency and demanding that reports are published and there's follow-up beyond that. So if they promise us and we tell them these are our issues, they make commitment, and we develop a framework on how all that is going to be implemented.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to say something about to add to what my sister has said.
Yeah.
Unaona, these political players, they have a lot of competing interest. And sometimes if you don't assert yourselves, you end up that your issues are swept to the periphery. I want to give you, I've been looking at these issues that we have, and I'm looking at the 10-point agenda that is a conversation at national level. Just recently, when Sifuna and team, the breakaway from ODM, added their voice to that 10-point agenda, I have heard the National Assembly and mandarins from the Treasury stating that they are going to add the money that goes to the county to around 459 billion. I remember the other time even getting 385, which was for the other financial year, was a problem. We ended up with 415 billion after a lot of problems. And so when the political class knows that there is going to be consequences if we don't implement this 10-point agenda, and if we don't do something about this devolution issue, then they know that we have to do something. So now they want to add that money so that it is 59 billion, because apparently Raiya said the minimum should be 450 in that 10-point agenda. So if you have a collective voice that is speaking towards an issue, the political class are going to make very quick decisions, and they have a way of making very quick decisions when they are pushed. So citizens should always focus on issues. The reason we are having the conversation around Makadara is because people made noise, and people continue to make noise. Now there are a lot of openings in governance today. And we will have a conversation about these institutions that open. One of them is the CBEF. You see, all these professional bodies and business communities are supposed to engage the county executive committee, which is like the cabinet ya county. So you should have an equal number of people who are citizens that are representing certain bodies sitting in that CBEF. And as a civil society, we had pushed, we litigated, and we ensured that CBEF is in place. Going into 2027, every group should find a way that they have a representative there. Apart from that, when this conversation about Makadara began, you saw the assembly opened and said, we have to to have some report to talk about Makadara. So when they are doing their committee sittings, which they are doing now, I told you it's live, yeah? Communities need to go to that committee and put their issues there. Don't wait for elections to start. Election is like the final audit process that we have looked at you in the last 5 years. I think we can give you another 5 years.
Yeah.
We have looked at you where unatucheza, just go home. Yeah. So even as anatucheza, sisi pia let's have a pushback every time there is political leadership and you feel that they wanazembea kazini. Push back. And that pushback, by the way, you have also opened it as media. I like what social media has also done, but also direct engagement and having these petitions being put are a number of ways that you can also hold people accountable.
Contextually,
yeah.
I believe that the most direct way to speak to someone who would love for them to vote for me is to address the issues that affect them directly.
Yes.
And those are the things that I believe they put in their manifestos. But sometimes people say some really outrageous things out there. And they say them in hopes of luring that vote in. But when they go and present that information to the normal mwananchi, mtu kama mimi, I might not be able to have that information to be like, no, this is not your work. This is not what you're supposed to be doing. So what do you say to a process whereby we are able to fact check and sieve and say that whatever manifesto you're putting in front of us, it is actually not in your jurisdiction to do this, or you're not within the total capabilities to do this, or in short, you're lying to us just for a vote?
Thank you for putting it very well. In fact, like you've given the path you should take. So they're just called they are promises, but they can be called action or instructions that are workable and bring forth a sustainable economy or sustainable governance. But if they're just promises and they're not put through scrutiny, like what systems are needed for that kind of promise is affordable housing or affordable healthcare. Like what structures are needed, what systems are needed, what appointments do we need, like what expertise should be there, what timeline do we have to achieve whatever you are saying. Is it beyond the five-year term? Like that's how you question and scrutinize that promise by the leader. Yeah, that's how I think you go about it.
The other thing that I want to add to this, and thank you, brother, because politicians can tell you everything in this world. I've seen MCS saying, I'll build you what. It is not his job. His job in that process, especially the questions around executing. If you look at the County Government Act and the way it has spoken about MCS, it really limits them to represent us, to do oversight, and to make laws. Yeah? So he can only say, for instance, that I will work with other members to ensure that money is allocated. Once the money is allocated, anapeana executive. So his place is to call that executive person and ask him, why have you not done this? For instance, now, my sister, we should be able to ask these politicians. You see, the current CIDP, they were supposed to, for Mombasa County, they were supposed to look for 120.9 billion Kenyan shillings to implement in the 5 years that we have. As we speak now, we should be thinking about reviewing that CIDP and asking, how much money have you gotten? Exactly. What have you done? What are the challenges? But you find that certain things are not happening because some of these political players are not talking to people in the way that they need to speak to.
Yeah.
For instance, there's an opening about the governor addressing people, state of the county address. We've never had one in Mombasa. and we should have one.
We should.
Yeah, so we need to push for things to happen, and with the know-how. Finally, in what he has asked, that is now our role as civil society, but the county and the IEBC also need to allocate resources to sensitize communities so that people know that huyu MCA anakuja kukampeni, hizi ndio vitu anafaa kukampenia. Huyu ni governor anakuja kukampeni, yeye anafaa kukampenia 1 2 3 hadi 10. Huyu MP anakuja kutukampenia hapa. He's just coming to tell us about CDF. Why is it not telling us about the 85% of resources that we built for this nation, and there is less oversight on that that money?
I think still on what Joshua said, are you planning to have a candidate's scorecard or performance trackers? Because we're getting into 2027 and people have a lot of hearsay. I've done. You have not done.
Yes, we plan to do that. And on that one, though this manifesto will be a background, that will be the push point for communities.
Yes.
But they will also be saying, because we don't want to have a track system that he says, hiyo ni yenu nyinyi ndio mlieka. We want him to also come and say, okay, I can work with this. And the reality is, can you get these resources? Because we should be knowing, for instance, that for the next 5 years, Treasury will give us how much money.
Yeah.
So if you're telling us that you will buy heaven and put it here, we will ask you, where are you getting that
exactly
money? Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to speak for myself, and I believe for another young person who's listening out there. I feel like there's no sustainability in this country. Now, I've interacted with corporate entities. There are certain corporate entities that we have interacted with either directly or indirectly in this country or abroad, whereby they lay out 30-year plans, 60-year plans whatsoever, and what they have is like some sort of inheritance whereby the direction of the company does not change. It's just leaders coming in. Unfortunately, in Kenya, I don't believe it's the same situation. In 2013, 2015, during those times, Vision 2030 was so big. It was believed that was the direction that the country is taking. I mean, it's 4 years to 2030, and the last time I heard about Vision 2030 it's been a minute. So how is it that I would love to listen to your opinion. Why do we change our direction each and every 5 years? This regime comes, they say we are going this way. After that time elapses, now we are switching to a different direction in a situation whereby, as country, this is a country we're talking about, handling 50 million people, where we need to have a unified path towards a better future.
Yeah. I can say you've even concluded it at the end. It's like we have this, as Kenyans, like this primordial instinct to have ethnical inclination. Like instead of us trusting system and building system, we are looking at the faces of those who are in the offices. So we should be able to build strong system and that are capacitated to perform, so that we are secured as the people, like I say. Democracy runs in, like Adika said, runs in the oversight parliamentary committees, both at the national and the county assembly. They also run through reports, both from the commission and the audit reports. So we need reforms upon these reports. And then also as civil society, we matter. And also this investigative journalism. All that, if is protected and is given power and independence, then it's the road to full democracy. So that's what I believe. So if we shift from ethnics, then we are on the right
we win.
path.
Yeah.
I have another angle to it. Yeah, I think we have to strengthen, for instance, the vehicles of getting power to be issue-based. If you ask me the difference between Jubilee and UDA, I wouldn't know. if you ask me about another political party, probably I think the closest I know about ODM is their key views around devolution and making sure that power goes to communities. If we have political vehicles that have a set rules and regulations to the extent that it is not anybody can sit there without this value system and then we just support.
Yeah.
That is our biggest problem, that anybody who can make sure that they have ethnic numbers and can sit at the helm of an institution, that's the person that we go with. That's why we end up even with people borrowing too much, because there's a lot of, you think that I should build more infrastructure, but that is not where we were when we thought about Vision 2030. Yeah, I'm also disturbed that we have not started a discussion about a further vision, because 2030, like he says, is just the next year. Yeah. So there needs to be a conversation that we go forward beyond 2030. But let me assure you, my brother, I think if you look at the structure of the counties, there's a way that it is well thought out, that you should always have a vision that drives how you budget, how you run. That's why you have these things of special plan, sectoral plan. Those are plans for up to 10 years. Then you have CIDP that takes you up to 5 years. It is so that you don't just wake up and do something. But if you do an audit about the last, this is the third generation CIDP, the first and the second, the question has always been that people in political place change the direction midway. Yeah. And so that we said we want 120 billion to do water, to do infrastructure, to find a way in which our systems of this thing is called sewer is working well. Somebody tomorrow comes and now want to buy us flowers. And because he has the political muscle of making sure that they can guide MCAs to budget the way you want, county executive committee to say the things they want, they end up deviating you from that forum. But that is why once you have these things like the CIDP, I think we should be able to even take the people who are governing to court if we see they are deviating. And those are areas where we can make sure then that we walk a path of a vision that takes us, and you say, in the next 50 years, Mombasa should be in this place. Si jana tunataka kwenda South Africa, kesho tunaenda Singapore, the other day tunaenda
Timboro.
Tunaenda Timboro.
Okay, Adika na mamangu hapo. Nimeisoma hii Citizens Manifesto. Ni nzuri. Ina clarity, ina agenda, tunaenda wapi, tunataka nini. Lakini sayansi ya siasa hapa nchini imechanganywa na sarakasi. Right? Tunakubaliana. Na wanasiasa wa hii nchi hata hapa Mombasa wanaishi kwa sarakasi. Whatever is happening right now, linda wananchi, linda ground, una wale wengine united opposition walikuwa Kisii, watakuwa Gusii. Nyinyi vikao vyenu mmefanya kwa sub county zote 6. Lakini ndani kwa wananchi mmekaa, na si wananchi wote, 1,000,000 karibu 2,000,000 sasa hivi Mombasa hapa. Mmekaa na baadhi ya wananchi. Mwanasiasa ana machinery. Atakuja kwenye majukwaa ya umma, atazungumza kwa sauti ya juu na sarakasi vile ambavyo kwamba wao wenyewe wanazieka. Hiki kitu ambacho kwamba mko nacho mmekianza mapema na wao tayari wako kwenye hao majukwaa, mnaamini vipi kwamba huyu mwananchi mpiga kura atawasikiza nyinyi kuliko huyu mwenye sayansi ya siasa ya sarakasi?
Naweza sema ya kwamba ile imani huwa imerudi nyuma kwa sababu ya kuangalia kwamba hakuna mabadiliko, yani kwamba kumekoseka zaidi ya mara moja, repeated failure. So despite hiyo erosion, kwamba kuna hiyo erosion of mistrust by the public, is something that can be rebuilt. It can be rebuilt, like I said, through the oversight institutions. Like despite you cannot say who is there vying. You can only say, are they competent enough to be there? Yani wako na huo uwezo wa kuwa pale. Kwa sababu wewe sema ati yule yajuana na nani, yule yajuana na yule. For me to be there, hata mimi kukua hapa kwa hii radio station, ni kwa sababu nilikuwa nimefanya hii kazi kwa muda ndo nikafika hapa. Na yule pia kufika paka kile kitu kwamba yuko kwa hiyo appointment mbele ya National Assembly, ni kwamba amebuild profile yake, tunasema kitambo afike hapo. Kwa hivyo usema yule ni mjomba wa nani, mtoto wa nani, ndo akafika pale. Are they competent enough? If those are the measures that we want those people in offices wawe nazo, then that's how we move. Are they competent enough? Whether there's evidence of their capacity, kwamba kuna ile experience yao, wako na ile capacity ya utendakazi, wako na hiyo utendakazi wao unaonekana, track record. So we demand tracking for wananchi, and then we make sure that our independent institutions, hizi commissions zote, kwamba they are strong enough and they are working for us because they are there as our eyes. So commissions zetu zikiwa really independent, these people are committed, and we demand transparency. Now transparency is through reports, through findings from the commissions, and then we make sure that those institutions are really fully independent.
Yeah,
then we go.
The other thing I want to say, mimi kitu nataka, of course this report, it has been done early. It's too early for me. It is a basis of conversation. Watu bado wataendelea kuongea. I know there are things that could emerge that may be needing a lot of in-depth input. I know we didn't talk about economic empowerment and issues around youth and inclusivity, but those are some of the things that are there. Now, the time when the political class is most vulnerable is when they are going to elections.
Yeah.
That's when they want to come and listen and say something. So what we want to do is to share this content and share this image of political engagement. We need to tell our people, and we continue telling our people, that first, let us look at the issues. What are these things that are giving us problems that these politicians need to prioritize? That's number one. Number two, let us talk to him, not him talking at us all the time. Let us change this conversation. Najua they will come, but you see, apart from the big rallies that happen, politicians also are very good listeners. They walk door to door, they find a way to have conversations. So in unaona kama Mombasa, it's very easy, because if you go to every ward, there's a day when a political player wants to speak to the church and to church leadership. Yeah. There's a day when he comes for groups and you want to have a conversation with those groups. So every time amekuja kwenu, you must also have your issues that you say, these are the issues that we feel are hurting us here. These are the things that we feel you need to go and address. If a politician comes to you and his manifesto does not mirror what you have, that's a ground for telling him, we can't vote for you, because these things you want are not the things that we consider important. How does he articulate them? Alafu then the value system. Who is this person? Unajua, I'm very disturbed. There was a time Matiang'i talked about the caliber of people that we are electing, and he said, if we continue like this, we'll have thieves in this National Assembly. watu wa kifuli sijui watu ambao wanafanya sijui gold sijui nini wash that is the name. The value system of a human being is very important. Na kama mtu anatoka kwa community wenu, you would know that huyu kwa tribia makuku hapa sasa nataka kumpea uongozi wa nini. So we need to look at all those things, because if you give those thieves an opportunity because they can bribe you, then they are going to steal. And there's nothing you will do because he bribed you. He went and stole. If you have an issue-based politician, it's easy to deal with him, because if time comes, we were talking about issues, you couldn't stand for those issues, just leave us. So we get another person. So the value system conversation is the most important. Na saizi ambao wako very vulnerable, 2026, 2027, let us talk to them. We are far much many than the politicians. So they should not run amok around us and then they start insulting each other. They want us to... Yani, there was a guy who was telling me that, you see, it's easier to vote against you than vote for you, meaning I will say those things that I want people to hear, which are very dirty about you, than the things that I plan to do to these people.
Yeah.
So we need to have a conversation about issues and not the insults. That's why we were saying politicians will sway you with insult. Tutasema huyu sijui ni kabila gani, hapa si kabila hii, hapa sijui huyu amekaa vipi. Let us talk about how will you fix water, how will you fix sewer, how will you represent us, how will you do oversight.
I'm looking at this, your manifesto here.
Yeah.
It says on youth inclusion and social protection, right? You said that the youth youths are excluded from decision making. There's drug abuse, there's unemployment, there's political exploitation and weak social protection system, right? You're right when you say that every election cycle, youths are promised jobs. And I think that's the one thing that they keep on using to tapatiana kazi. But we still see a lot of youth also being in spaces where they're really hustling, and it's like hand to mouth. You're living hand to mouth. What specific commitment do you think 2027 candidates should make before even we go to that ballot?
I think that couples with what we expect in the economy.
Yes.
The fact that they should be funding towards SMEs, small businesses. There's also the aspect of skills, giving skills to the young people. Apprenticeship. I hear there's a TVET about to be fully fledged at Mamangina. So those are the expectations that has been long agitated for, like the TVET.
Yeah.
So those are the opportunities that can make the youth more economically empowered. So we need them in spaces where they can manage their own affairs, apart from just being where they are also given opportunities to make decisions, to prioritize their own needs. So that's what I think should happen. And given the fact that it can also be geared towards the blue economy, because the blue economy is what's running the world currently. Because and for Africans, it has not been tapped fully. So we need a certification of this youth to be able to run in that industry. To have that, I hear it's almost like a passport for you to just be in the cruise ship, a passport to just work anywhere within the blue economy. And it is very expensive for them to afford. If these things are subsidized for the youth, then we get to fully tap into the blue economy, because but geographically God placed us there. So we need to take advantage of all that.
The other thing that I think, the coastal leadership, I think we should also look at this in the bigger angle. The entire coast region is mineral rich entirely. We have been talking about Mrima just the other day. It's something that is going to boost the economy of this region in the next decade or so. Same to, we've been speaking about Savo and how over 60% of the landmass in Taita Taveta belongs to Savo. What the conversation that the leadership of the coastal counties must have is how do these minerals prioritize locals and the youth here. And the end result, the former president of Tanzania used to say, why would you take sand and soil and put them in a ship and ship them to Western countries if they are just sand? So you have your sand there and your soil. Yeah. People should not carry our minerals to go and process them elsewhere. If we have to deal with this youth bulge, then those minerals must be a place where they are done locally, and it gives jobs to people here. I must emphasize that we must be serious about educating and putting skills to people. And there must be accountability in that process. If it is skills mtaani, we need to see the numbers, and we need to see an economy growing. You know, these things follow to each other. If you give skills to, say, 1,000 people in this county this year, then even the on-source revenue for next financial year should reflect that some 1,000 people got into job market and they are paying more taxes. It should reflect automatically. There are these monies that are given to people, saizi kuna nyota na nini.
We are the hustler fund.
The level of accountability, I know Mombasa County is talking about revolving fund. The accountability in those funds need to be properly, very clear. And I want to encourage youths to get into that conversation. It is not a conversation they should leave to political class alone. Get into it, push them to the extent that we should also see a reflection of these funds. Usha tupea nyota fund, yes. Lakini tunaona, are there people who are getting jobs? Are they holding up? Ama is just nyota fund that went and then down the drain? Yeah, so that reflection needs to be there. Finally, we must also attract investment. There is this pack. There's some money that national government was giving to every county to build some investment parks. Where is that? Yeah? It needs to grow to the extent that we can see that park also offering job opportunities. If all these 6 counties have those industrial parks, there's going to be some differences. So I think those are areas that are still green, and the political class need to
look into.
Do something about that.
All right, we are still speaking to Zedekiah Adika and Rukiya Adam. Of course, Zedekiah is an advocate of the High Court, but now today he is here as Chair Coast Civil Society for Human Rights, and of course Rukiya is a Civic Educator, Raiya Trust. The road to 2027 general election, accountability for the candidates is the conversation we're having. We'll be right back. Let's get into the news. Good morning. We are looking at what it means to hold our leaders accountable, especially as we're heading towards the 2027 general election. And as I look at your manifesto, the manifesto here again, there's matters health, and we cannot ignore. And you've identified the problem here. We are seeing that illegal hospital charges, there is understaffed facilities, right? Unsafe hospitals, water shortages, poor sanitation, pollution, and stalled infrastructure. And one of your demands is no denial of emergency treatment due to inability to pay. The other demand is recruitment of qualified health workers and improved facility security. And the other one is zero tolerance for negligence, tribalism, and abuse in health services. So you've definitely identified that health is indeed an issue within the coast region. And we're talking about Mombasa. We had a doctor here. We also had a representative from the county with what's happening with Coast General Hospital. Why are we still in a space where, despite health being devolved, and we would expect that things would be better to the citizen, we're seeing a space where nothing much has improved?
I can say the issues you've mentioned, they are well articulated, and given that the manifesto was launched towards the end of last year, it means it's a true reflection of the issues that the common mwananchi undergoes while accessing the health services. So given that aspect, we are saying Coast General Hospital it has a capacity, an influx from other regions. It's serving beyond the coastal boundaries, like the Mombasa.
Yes.
It's beyond, like Kilifi, Malindi. There's the Kwale side. So there's that influx. Yet it has remained the same in terms of capacity. So it needs to be upgraded. It needs to go to level 5. It's called level 5, but it's operating like it's level 4. Yeah. So it needs to be at level 5.
Yes.
Yeah. So we need all those fully fledged facilities so that we can encompass the other people from the other regions.
How should voters assess candidates on health accountability?
There are a few things that have changed on health.
Yes.
Including the way they are funded. There are resources that then are used within the locality. Example, resources are to come from the center of governance back to the facilities. How should citizen assess the health sector? It's one of those things that you look at in terms of, if I went to a health facility, how long do I take to even be attended to? Yeah. If I have an emergency, you see, it's not, sometimes you could take a bit of time because probably a lot of things need, but there are certain visible injuries probably. You are at a very critical situation.
Yes.
How long does it take you to be addressed? Can we get medication? If I go to a facility, do I get medicine there or not? If it is a public facility, the understanding is the cost need to be a little bit lower. Is that cost really low or not? Then do they, for instance, do a proper diagnosis? There are instances where you go to an institution, they look at you, they tell you have malaria. 2, 3 days, 4 days later, you had pneumonia, kumbe. So you end up dying or getting into a very serious situation because of misdiagnosis. And that happens with the quality of health officers that you have. First, in terms of their numbers, in terms of their training. Do we have them? I believe we have very qualified health practitioners. Probably we need to work about the numbers. There is also an engagement, I don't know how Noah and the gentleman spoke to it, about the commitment of the health practitioners. Are they in that facility from 8 to 5 within the hours that they need to be? Or do they go out and do other services?
Yeah.
I was being told about a story where somebody went to Makadara. Within 2 hours, he went to another facility. He found that doctor there in that private facility with his name inscribed in some door.
Yes.
And so he was asking himself, are you at Makadara or are you here? And what time do you come? Those are conversations that people must have. I think also the question of building more facilities it is a good thing, and I must commend the county. I think they have built some level 4 in Mjambere or where, and in some places. But it is not enough to build a facility, a physical facility, and not have doctors, not have medicine.
Yes.
So they need to put them. We were having conversations about even the security. Do they have title deeds, these hospitals? And are they covered, or are they the ones that are being grabbed? Yeah. So all those questions need to be put to the table. So what we are doing is that people have seen how health is happening in Mombasa. It is one of the things that you will use to judge the current leadership, but also look at any other person who want to lead the county in terms of how they have interacted with health wherever they are.
Yes.
But as we speak, health is not something that's supposed to wait. That's why we have to push even those who are at oversight institutions like the county assembly to make sure that the happenings around Makadara, around all these hospitals, is one that is accepting the basic standards that the resident of Mombasa is supposed to be seeing.
Just to echo that, is that there's a specific patient pathway that should be followed as you enter a hospital. If you ask me what how my vision of me entering AA or Aga Khan, I can tell you, even if I've gone once, I know I'll make this stop, I'll take this close amount of time, and then I'll be direct to consultation room to the doctor. But with Makadara, the specific pathway, patient pathway, is ambiguous. It's not known.
It's not known.
Like it's like different for different service to be offered, and also the payment mode. Like there is a payment mode, but the patient is not informed. There are no indications. There's no sensitization on what should happen. So some of the people, the congestion in fact is caused by lack of awareness and lack of that pathway is not clear. Because I've ever taken somebody there to be operated on while they're pregnant. Like for you to know, like this is where you start, then you take the blood, then you take this. It's just total confusion. And unless you've ever been there once, then you know how to do it. So if you've ever been there, then you become a G. You know, like if you take it to the lab, then I'm just paying for this. While I'm paying for the blood to be processed, I'm also paying for the medicine at the same time, so that I don't go back to the same the payment. So you ask for all what is required of you, so that when you're going to the payment queue, you are doing it all at once.
All right. And then lastly, what's your message to a voter or the citizen who's listening?
Mine is the power is with you.
Okay.
Going into 2027, all these political players will be coming to beg you. Use that power properly.
Okay.
Yeah. My message is, as a voter, democracy and democratic participation is continuous. It's ongoing. It's not a one-day moment. So voter literacy is needed. You need to inform yourself, to stay engaged, and and stay continued despite the hiccups, despite the challenges.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for making time today. Thank you, Adika. Thank you, Rukiya, as well.
Most welcome.
Of course, we've been speaking to Rukiya Adams. She is a civic educator at Raiya Trust, and then Zedekiah Adika, who is also is an advocate of the High Court and the Chaircoast Civil Society for Human Rights. This is definitely a conversation that we'll continuously have up until 2027 and even beyond 2027. The road to 2027 general election, accountability for candidates. Your vote counts, right? This is our country. Ni yetu sisi sote. So we take care of it. Good morning. We will be right back.